Hello, everyone. This is Up to Snuff, and today we have a very long title, The Reincarnation of the Strongest Exorcist in Another World. So we have to start the main characters, which definitely lack a lot of depth. First of all, the main guy, obviously reincarnated in another world. In his first world, there was magic. He was kind of just trying to learn from his mistakes, which, that's all well and good. And I really thought that a lot of the stuff that, a lot of the material involved in his last life was very interesting. There was a lot to go off of and a lot that could have been used in the next world for most of the series. But it didn't feel like he necessarily developed any of the characters from his past life. He kind of just used them and didn't give too much context besides what they could do when they were attacking an enemy. Now, as for the other main characters, they are pretty shallow, to be honest. Some of them you may see in one episode, and then you don't see them for a few episodes, and nothing changes about them. Now, I gotta say, it was a sin, practically, to add romance as one of the genres to this show, because there was no romance in this show, like, almost visibly none. I've seen shows that don't have the romance tag on them that had more romance than this show. Now, are the character designs so amazing? No, it's your really generic kind of design. I thought it was average for 2023, to be honest. The characters themselves are forced to make the show interesting because the plot, I think we can get onto the plot now. The plot was an arc in the first part, and if you want to check at the ratings in the beginning, it did go up because there was a lot more action. And there was a strong enough plot where someone who watches it can reasonably say, oh, I have something to look forward to in possibly the next episode. But once that was accomplished, it didn't have as many directions to go. They were just adding a few side plots to keep the show going. And yeah, some of them can be interesting, but even if it is, that's not enough to complete a series. That's not enough to keep the interest of the viewer for another 6-7 episodes. And that was really one of the biggest problems that at least I saw. Now, it didn't give me a lasting impression at all. I don't know about you, but this show definitely felt like it was in the forgettable category. I mean, the art style, the plot, just everything about it. It didn't do anything that specifically terrible besides really the plot part. So I'm not really going to, give this a horrible lashing out against because it really doesn't necessarily deserve it. And not that many people even watched it, but for those who did, this was probably not the highest on your to-do list to watch. Now, the plot really did go everywhere. There wasn't really a primary objective towards the end. Now, I really just want to say, besides all the fairly basic stuff about it, that you could see about 10 more of these in the year, and you could say the same thing. Now, let's just get on to this final rating, because I can't do this anymore. I mean, these isekais, a dime a dozen, I swear. As for the final rating, I'm probably going to give this a D. I mean, this was really bad. The only thing that stopped it from being an F is it didn't do too much horribly to really sink it down. It did have some very generic stuff. In fact, almost all of it was generic, but that's kind of what D is. A D is very generic, close to failing, but not necessarily failing. But obviously, this is not something I would have recommended to anyone. And when I first looked at this, I knew it wasn't going to be anything all that special, but I checked it out anyway, and whatever, now you know. Anyway, that's all for now.